Today's lesson, we're going to be learning about a new dress up here. And this dress up is the strong verb. So, a strong, you know what a verb is, or you should. Verbs, most of the verbs you're going to be here for a strong verb is going to be an action word, right? Some verbs don't always show action, but most of them will. So, you could say, I blank, I ran, I see, I saw, I went, right? So, but these words here are band words. And there will be an exception occasionally where you will have to use the word see because nothing makes any sense. But that word. But anytime that you're writing, you want to try, and if you have any of these four words, see and said or saw and go and went. If you have these in your writing, try to replace them with a stronger verb because these are weak verbs. They don't really give a good um, image. And that's what a strong verb does. A strong verb gives you a really good image or feeling. So, like instead of saying, he said, be quiet. Now, if I told you that, you okay. But if I said he whispered, be quiet, you get a better image of how he said that, right? If I said he screamed, be quiet, you get a better image by reading that in your mind, right? Um, so um, that's what you want to. One of the things you want to do is if you look through your writing and you find the word said in there, try to replace it with a word that would give a strong image or feeling. And in your folder, you will have this list here and some of these other lists here, which give you more adjectives, not adjectives, but synonyms that help you write a better and give a better image, a better, more interesting story. Right. So here instead of saying she's seen a log, right? You'd say she spotted, she glimpsed, she noticed, um, she observed, she witnessed. So you want to go in and, like I said, try and look for any of these weak words in your writing. Okay, so I'll kind of show you an illustration here of what I'm talking about. So this was my story that I had used from How the Redbird Got His Color. Okay, and I rewrote it. I made 2 paragraphs, which is what you're going to be doing today. When you do your story today is going to be over why the mole lives underground. And this story, I want you to write 2 paragraphs about it, okay? Today you're only going to have to write the first paragraph, and then tomorrow you'll write your second paragraph. But in each paragraph, you're going to need to go in and think of the topic. The mole helps the man. How does the mole help a man? And then your second topic, what's the consequences of him helping that man, right? So you want to look for information in this, interesting facts or whatever that is going to help you rewrite this story in your own words. And whenever I first wrote this, I hadn't really looked at the band words, and we weren't dealing with the strong verbs. So, in my first story here, you can see that here I had the word saw. So that was one of the band words they wanted me to try my best to replace. So it says the wolf arrived seconds later, saw the raccoon's reflection in the water and jumped in. So here it says the wolf arrived seconds later, glimpsed the raccoon's reflection in the water and jumped in. So from that list that we had over here, I seen that glimpsed was on it. So that was pretty easy to replace, right? And it's just better. But now in the second part, the reason I said with C, I think C sounds better here because I could say the poor wolf woke, terrified that he couldn't view anything. That just doesn't make very good sense to me. So I think in some cases the word see is better to use, okay? But now if we look at this second sentence, it says, Little brown bird heard his crying and went to see what all the fuss was about. So as I replaced that with my stronger verbs, I replaced went from the list over here with hurried. And I replaced see with discovered because in this case, he wasn't really looking, right? So here it says, Little brown bird heard his crying and hurried to discover what all the fuss was about. Okay. And then here it says, he asked Wolf what he could do to help. Wolf asked Brown Bird to get the stuff off of his eyes so he could see. In return for his help, Wolf promised to show him some red paint that he could use to make himself beautiful. Brown Bird agreed to help him and quickly set to work picking up the plaster from the wolf's eyes. As the last clump fell from the wolf's eyes, he leaped for joy. He could see again. Like I said, he could glimpse again, he could view again. That doesn't make any sense to me. So in some cases, like I said, the word see you may want to leave in there. If it's literally talking about seeing. But in the case here where the little bird went to see, he was going to discover it, right? So he wasn't really trying to look. He was trying to figure out what was happening. So hopefully I'm not confusing you guys. If I am, be sure just to holler at me, let me know, hey, I just don't understand what this is. And I'll try to explain it a little better. But what you want to do is rewrite your passage using the most interesting details and facts for your subject, and then go in, make sure that for both paragraphs, for paragraph 1 and 2, you have an ly adverb, a who which clause, and a strong verb. Now, like I said, one of the easiest ways to put in that strong verb is to find weak verbs like see and said, saw, go, and went. Those words are weak verbs, so you can easily replace them by using the list that I've given you. Okay? And if you have any of these in here, unless it's the word see, then, and it's like it was in my story where he was literally talking about that he couldn't see, you need to replace those words. Every one of those words in your writing with a stronger verb. Okay? Each one of these paragraphs do need to be at least 6 sentences long, and they do need to have at least 80 words in every paragraph. And you're going to need a topic sentence, right? That's going to tell us what this is about.